Welcome to Get Paid for Your Pad, the definitive show on Airbnb hosting, featuring the best advice on how to maximize profits from your Airbnb listing, as well as real-life experiences from Airbnb hosts all over the world. Welcome. We are your hosts, Huzefa Kapadia and Jasper Rivers.
Get paid for your pad. 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 Get paid for your pad.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Get Paid for Your Pad. I'm Huzefa Kapadia, and I'm here with Jasper Rivers. Jasper, how's it going?
Hey, man, it's going well. It's still in Brazil.
Still in Brazil, still partying it up, living the life. I think you're in Porto Alegre now? Porto Alegre?
Yes, that's right. All the way in the south, and it's freaking hot down here.
Well, that's nice. I'm in LA. It's a very moderate 65, 70 degrees. So cool. Warm weather, always a good thing. But our guest today is not in the warm weather or the moderate weather. He's in the blistering cold out in Chicago, a city where me and Jasper actually met back in 2008. One of our favorite cities in the world. One of my favorite cities for sure. And he's got a super interesting story. He's an entrepreneur on the move, doing all sorts of cool stuff, and a growing Airbnb host. And I'm going to let him tell you his whole story. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Anwar to the show. Anwar, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Welcome. And so you live in Chicago, which, as I mentioned, that's where me and Jasper first met. I was there for my time during law school. I love the city. Are you born and raised in Chicago?
Yeah, I'm pretty much born and raised here. My parents came here in the 70s and got married, and me and my brother just born and raised on the north side in Rogers Park. Actually, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, where that is. It's on the north side.
Okay, awesome. So before we jump into all the cool Airbnb stuff that you've been doing, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, your history in business, because it's very fascinating, all the things that you've done. And let's start there.
I started off having a love and passion for music. A little history on my teenage years. I was a DJ, and I was into producing, making beats and things like that. And I was really interested in entrepreneurship as well. So my dad's from Pakistan, and it's a funny story. I went over there, and it was a good trip and a bad trip as well, because it was good because I got to see my family and stuff like that. But it was bad because I really seen how people were living out there and the poverty, and it got me a little sad. And I was like, man, these people out here, they got it pretty bad. We got it made in the States, I need to take advantage of that.
And just to jump in, I'm Indian. I had the exact same experience when my parents first took me to Mumbai. It's really overwhelming. So I totally understand.
All right. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. So you would see babies living on the floor. It was just really mind blowing and shocking. And I've been there before, but seeing it as a 20-year-old, I was just overwhelmed with it. So I was there for 2 weeks, and I said, man, when I get back, I'm gonna definitely do something. I don't care what it is, because if I'm not taking advantage of the opportunities that we have in this country, then we might as well just hang it all up, and we should take advantage of it, because these people don't have the opportunity. At the end of the day, I just opened up this store called The Basement, which was basically a hip hop lifestyle shop, focusing on music and clothing and things like that. So we opened up shop 2002. I was 20 years old, and with a credit card and a couple of savings that I had, I was actually working at the Gap during this time. But after that, I opened up another store in the Lincolnwood Mall. It was a little stand selling CDs. And then after that, I opened another one up in the North Riverside Mall, which is on the west side of Chicago. So after the third store, that's when I got into the real estate market, and I seen a building in Wicker Park, and it said for sale by owner. So I just called the owner and said, hey, how much do you want for it? And he said, I want whatever he told me at that time, and I said okay. At that point, things were going okay, but then the economy crashed, and I started letting go of a couple of stores. I sold one and closed the other two, so I was basically left with one. And then in 2012, I just basically just closed it up because it was 10 years I was doing it, and I was kind of over it. I was tired. 2014, I opened up a gallery, an art gallery called The Box, and that's where I started doing the Airbnb thing.
And how did you find out about Airbnb?
Okay, so a funny story. So before I opened up the gallery, which was around January, I was driving for Uber. My brother started driving for Uber, and he referred me, and he started and I just started driving. And I picked up somebody at I think it was downtown somewhere, but I picked him up, and he was telling me about this thing called Airbnb, and I said, what is that? And he's like, oh, this is thing that I'm doing, man. It's great. He's like, I quit my job and everything. I'm like, well, what is it? He said, yeah, people want to come and live in a nice loft in Chicago for a couple of days. I rent to my loft, and they pay me for it. I was like, really? I was like, that's interesting. And at this time, I was in a transition with my roommate, and I had told him about it. I told him that I put up a Craigslist ad to try to get a roommate because my roommate bailed on me. So he was like, nah, man, what are you doing? He's like, don't do that. He's like, sign up for Airbnb right away. He's like, I started off with mine. Whenever somebody wants to live in my place, I stay at my girlfriend's house. And then I put my girlfriend's listing up. So then he told me that he leased out a space just for Airbnb. So now basically he has 3 listings, and he's like, yeah, I make like 7 G's a month, and all I do is write, because he was a writer I think he wrote for the Tribune. And all he did was write for them and does his own writing as well. So he's the one that got me like excited about it. I took his number down, and a week later, I'm signed up for Airbnb. I didn't even have any furniture in my second bedroom that my roommate was occupying. So I just took the picture of the room, put it up, and put a really low price. I think I put it for like $29, and I said, let me see what happens. A day later, I get a booking, and the money's, and I didn't even know like what Insta booking was or anything like that, but the money was already in my account within the next day. So I was like shocked, like, wow, this is really happening. Like, I think it was like $100-something I had in the bank account the next day. And then so with the money, I went down the street to my furniture store, and I just bought a full-size bed, some sheets, and then met up with the guy. I didn't even know how to do it, so I ended up meeting him at a McDonald's parking lot. And he was new to Airbnb too, so we were both like kind of like shocked on like how this is working and how to actually do it. But I just met him up at a parking lot, and I said, well, here go the keys, here's the address, make yourself at home. And ever since that day, it's been a big part of my life ever since.
So you basically started off with the recommendation. You rented out your spare bedroom in your listing, and for just quick preview for all the listeners out there, your Airbnb business has grown exponentially. So why don't you tell us, how many listings do you have now?
Right. So let me see. So I signed my lease in March, and then my roommate bailed on me in like June. So yeah, so around June 4th, I believe, is when I put my first listing up, and that was my spare bedroom. And yeah, that was one. And now about like 7 months later, I have 14 listings total.
Wow, that's crazy. In 7 months, that's insane. And tell us about the listings. So are they kind of spread throughout Chicago? Because we know Chicago pretty well. Are they kind of spread throughout? Are they localized? And how did you choose them?
Yeah, well, it was pretty like I said, I was pretty new to it, so I wasn't too familiar with Airbnb yet. in June, and again I opened up my gallery at the same time, so I was more like focused on the gallery. But then like I would keep getting these inquiries and these bookings, through the through my first listing. So that came about. And mind you, when I had my gallery, I owned the building, so um I have an apartment upstairs from the gallery, but at this point, I just had regular tenants there, just regular lease. They were paying me, I think like 2,000 a month for, it was like a 4 bedroom and they were giving me like, I think like 1,900 or 2,000. I forgot, but so they were giving me that, and I didn't even think about it. But then once I like started getting more and more into it, their lease was up in like September or September, October. So I did the math and I said, man, imagine if how well I'm doing with this spare bedroom. What if I were to rent out this 4 bedroom as Airbnb? So that's kind of like where the listings come from. It's not really like I have all these properties all over the place. It's basically it's a 4 bedroom which I rent out as a one listing, and then I rent out the room separately in the same listing. So technically it's five or six listings are basically in the same place. So that's why
Is it hard to manage that?
You know what, it is. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely a challenge, and it definitely is your undivided attention. If it wasn't for my wife and me and my mom that helps a lot, I would not be like, and I still like drop the ball sometimes, because it's really hard to manage like all these different guests, and to make them happy. That's the main thing, and so far I've been pretty lucky, and I got a lot of great guests, but there's still the few that are aren't, you can't make everybody happy. That's what I learned.
Yeah, I mean, if you're managing that many listings, then you're almost like an apartment rental business that you're running. It sounds like a full-time job to me.
Yeah, for real. And I mean, and it actually took off, and I didn't even have time to even because like I said, I was doing the gallery. I was now I'm doing Airbnb, and but remember I was doing the Uber before that. So I had these three hustles I was doing, and and I didn't want to lose track of any of them because all of them were pretty important. But with Airbnb, it's really important because you have to really pay attention on your guests that are there, because if they're not happy, or if you're not there for them at the time that they need you, then there goes your ratings, there goes your reviews, and But I feel like for being new and for it being like something that I haven't done, I feel like we've set up something really good, and definitely room to improve. But
and what's cool about your listings is you have like all these different type of listings. I see you have underground man cave and game room. I see graffiti bridge bunk bed,
right.
a sports lounge, an art gallery. So how's that going? Because most people they have either a private room or apartment or a house, but you can list any type of space, of course, and you've got some interesting spaces. So how does that go? Is that going well?
Yeah, it's actually it's great. It's just managing it is the only issue sometimes. With the graffiti bridge room, it was basically it was a 4 bedroom apartment, and I basically had a back enclosed porch, and I said that there was a point during Lollapalooza, which was kind of like where I got this idea. There was just so many people and so many inquiries that I had turned down, and I said, man, if I had some more space, I could probably I could have booked that during this time, and then a light bulb went on, and I said, I went to my back porch, and I said, man, you could put something in here. I'm not sure if it'll be a bedroom, but so I thought about just putting a bunk bed in there, like a bunk bed futon kind of thing that I seen, and I said I could put that there, and then the walls were really like raw and like not really finished, and I said, I know all the graffiti guys all over the city, so I said, it's one phone call to just come and they'll paint it, I'll just give them the paint, and they would love to showcase their their work anywhere. So I made a phone call. He came. One of my guys, Hugo Garcia, he came and he just blessed me with some nice art. And I said, hey, why not just stick to what I know and just call it Graffiti Bridge. It's a classic movie, and also it's just something funky to attract the kind of people that I want here. More younger and more people that are into art and things like that. So that's why I kind of like called it that, and it's been a hit ever since because I can sleep 3 people in there, two on the bottom, one on the top. So this is kind of like for the budget traveler that's not really though it doesn't want to spend too much money, but still can get a good shower and get a good night's sleep. And it's actually a very comfortable bed too. I slept in there a couple of times, and that's been that's been a hit actually, because a lot of people come in groups, and if you could fit 3 people for $39, I mean, it's kind of like a no-brainer, And the area that I'm in is just it's a perfect area to be in the city.
That's really cool. It's interesting because if you think about the concept behind Airbnb as well as Uber X to a degree, it's kind of about using the resources that are available to you that are just sort of sitting there and not being used, and letting other people take advantage of it who can use it or need it. And yeah, that's fantastic. When you first, I wanted to jump back to the 4-bedroom unit that you mentioned before that you were renting out for about $1,900 a month.
Yeah.
When you eventually got your listing, the Airbnb listing for that location into full swing, what was the income differential?
Oh man, it was dramatic, and I don't even charge that much, but it was still like at least triple that.
Awesome.
And that was even like, and the thing is I like about it too is you get to keep an eye on your property, for the property owners out there, because before it was just signed off to a tenant, and when these people left, these people really like messed up this apartment. They had dogs up there and the smell, and I did a lot of big rehab into this place because of how they left it. So now, like that I have it on Airbnb, I get to watch it now. I get to fix things that need to be fixed, and I get to upgrade what I want need to be upgraded. But yeah, I like the fact that I get to be upstairs sometimes to look at the place and make sure that nothing's going on up there. And yeah, and the money is definitely a lot better too.
That's a really good point as well, because when you're doing the listings, let's say you have people stay for 3, 5, 7 days, whatever it is, but that's right. In between those stays, you're constantly coming in. You can do maintenance. You can do a spot check. You can see what's going on. And we've talked to other hosts too that have said another interesting fact about it is usually, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, it seems to be the case that usually the short-term tenants tend to treat your place better than the long-term tenants. And that's, I think, for 2 reasons. One, because it's not, when you actually rent a place long-term, it feels like it's your place. You're more likely to mistreat it, which is unfortunate but true.
Yeah.
And the second reason is most people that come on a short-term basis are not coming to be in your apartment all the time. They're coming to explore the city and do something, like go to Lollapalooza or something like that. So the amount of time they actually spend in the unit is more or less limited to sleeping.
No, exactly. No, definitely. It's it's just been like overwhelming. And I was listening to one of your podcasts the other day, and there was somebody there, and he was just like talking about Airbnb, like, wow, like what a difference Airbnb makes for people, like, and I was looking at my girl, and I was like, man, it's right. Like, what would we do without Airbnb? Because to be honest, this kind of like saved our life, kind of, man. Because it's, I mean, I'll tell you the numbers in privately, but man, this has really been benefiting us, like, financially, and it's like, if I don't know what I would do if I didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? And
for sure,
it's just a beautiful thing.
We've talked to other hosts as well who were laid off or going through some financial difficulty, and they all say the same thing. It was Glenn Cooley, who's a big host in Los Angeles. He has kind of the exact similar story. Really quickly, you did mention that running the 14 listings is pretty time intensive. Can you just give us an estimate as far as how many hours per week you devote to managing your listings, responding to people, etc.?
Yeah, you know what? gonna be honest. So I was driving for Uber, and it came to a point where I wasn't even like driving anymore. So I think like 2 weeks ago, they told me that they're gonna discontinue my partnership with them, and I was like, what? And yeah, so basically because I don't drive enough with them, that they're gonna terminate our relationship. So basically, I can't drive for Uber anymore. So which was a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing because now I can focus more on Airbnb, but still, for them to be like that way was pretty. I was pretty upset with them, because it's good to have that backup just in case. So I mean, it just goes to show you how they are, and I wouldn't recommend using them, and I'm pretty upset with them. So as far as Uber's concerned, our relationship is done. But at the same time, it's given me so much time to focus on this. So now, and this has recently happened. So now I pretty much wake up in the morning, and this is all I do is check the listings, make sure everything is correct on the manuals, and if anything's updated, put it on the listing, and it's very hard to focus on 14 listings, but somebody's got to do it, and kind of like a one-man army doing it. But my mom helps me, clean the places, which is a big help, and my girl helps me do the same thing. But when it comes to like the actual managing, like it's all me. So I'm sure you guys know that's a job in its own. I mean,
absolutely.
To respond
and I actually,
back.
to be honest with you, I think your termination with Uber might actually be blessing in disguise, because I think if you have 14 listings and you really focus on it, you can probably significantly improve your results.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It might be a blessing in disguise because
Exactly.
like, I was because I would drop the ball sometimes with the Airbnb. 14 listings is a lot. I don't have no employees anymore, and it's just all me, and I want to be very careful on who's doing it. So that's why I kind of do everything myself.
Right.
And you have to be very you have to be on it. When it comes to checking in people and making sure they got everything they need. So yeah, that's what I was thinking. Putting more, focusing more on this, and
yeah,
it's less work really. Driving around all day, it takes up a lot of time.
Are you aware of like the startups that have recently been popping up everywhere that can help you with your management? For example, there's Guesty, which you can do. They can do the messaging for you, and there's a couple of companies like Beyond Pricing who can help you set an optimal pricing for your listing. And there's some companies out there who even completely take over all your listings and manage it for you. Have you considered using them?
Yeah, you know what I actually did. That's how I found out about it was through you guys. But to be honest with you, Guesty was. I don't really recommend it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not for me, but I would try to use them. I thought it'd be ideal for me because of all the listings that I had. But I felt like they weren't really too responsive with, they wouldn't respond to my guests in a timely manner, and it was just like, well, I might as well just do it myself. And the one thing I did like about it is they have, I guess, the software that kind of puts all the listings together. Like for instance, for my four bedroom place, if somebody books, room 1 and room 2, and then somebody wants to rent the whole place out, like they have the software that doesn't let that happen, so there's no double bookings. So that's the only thing that I liked about them. But again, I didn't feel like they were really beneficial. And it didn't really cost me any money either, but it was just kind of like a waste of time, I think. I did try it, but I don't think it was made for me. And Beyond Pricing, I actually do use that. And, it's hit or miss here and there, Sometimes you get bookings, sometimes you don't. But, I'm trying. I know I listened. I bought your book, and you guys have a great book. And, I listen to the audio book as well. I make my girl listen to it too, even though she hates it. But I force her to listen to it. But it's definitely something that we listen to, and we listen to your podcast all the time just to try. I always try to improve myself, what I could do better, and again, I tried those little things, but yeah, I don't think guesty is right. For me anyway. Maybe for like somebody that with less listings, maybe, or something like that, or that's very busy, has other things going on. But maybe in the future they'll maybe improve their response time. Or
So this is what I'd love to know from somebody like you who's constantly looking to improve and learning about what's out there. What would you let's pretend now you're the guy, you're the Uber passenger, right? Who's letting people know about Airbnb, and somebody's out there saying, all right, I think I want to start. What is your top advice or top few pieces of advice for somebody who's right about to jump into the game and get going?
Man, my first thing is sign up ASAP. Like, I couldn't stress it more. Like, sign up today. Don't wait. Don't wait. Like, I was kind of mad at my cousin because I was telling her to do it. She lives on the west side, like in Berwyn, but still, it's, you would never know where people wanna stay, and she has a spare bedroom, and she was telling me about she had some problems and this and that, and I said, listen, sign up for Airbnb right now. Like, here's my computer, just do it. Get started. Take that first step. Because the longer you wait and the longer it takes, other things pop up, and it just you don't never get around to it. But believe me, once you take that first step, that's what you have to do. Because I talked to so many people regarding this, and they're like, "Oh, I would never have someone in my house and this and that." And next thing you know, they're doing it too. Because I convinced them, and now they're making an honest living doing it. So it was just like, you just gotta take that first step and just sign up first, and then eventually you'll learn how to manage it, like the way you feel comfortable doing it.
And do you have any fun experiences, like any crazy stories? Because you must have had a lot of guests with so many listings. What's the most remarkable guest that you've had, or the most remarkable experience?
I wouldn't say remarkable. I mean, there was one last month that I ran out my. By the way, I ran out my gallery as a Airbnb listing as well. Mm-hmm. So one thing I was pretty proud to be a part of. We did a surprise like engagement at our place, where like one of the guests invited all his family and friends from both sides, and then they walked in through, like, because my gallery is kind of like a hidden gallery. You have to come through the alley, so it's kind of like a hidden speakeasy kind of concept. So they came in, and then everybody screamed surprise, and it was just like it was pretty like fulfilling to like be a part of that, because now you're a part of someone's history and marriage, and that was pretty special to me, because it was like without us it wouldn't have been that way. So that was cool. And then just all kinds of stories. One time with Lollapalooza, when that was going on, like I ended up it was like a couple that came, and I ended up like giving them a ride to Lollapalooza, and then me and my friends ended up going to Lollapalooza, and we ended up seeing each other there, and like we ended up partying together like randomly. That was funny. So Airbnb is definitely a lot of cool experiences. But those two are like the most memorable, because we actually like bonded and hung out. Oh, one more person is this guy Luke, that he had like was having like some problems with his wife or something, so he needed a place to stay for a couple of weeks, and he was a pretty depressed guy, But man, lo and behold, like we got to know him. Me and my wife cheered him up, invited him to the gallery, and invited him to some events, and brought his spirits up, and he got out of depression. He started like dating other people, and it was just like, wow, like it's such a life-changing experience for the guy, and for us too, because we were there to help him in such a crucial part in his life. And now he's like got his own place, and he's he's getting a divorce and stuff, but he's seeing other people. And but we brought him from a depression to like to a happy state.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, Anwar, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's a really cool story. You mentioned you have an art gallery. Do you have a website for that, or is there somewhere where people can check it out?
Yeah, it's called the Box Chicago, and the website is theboxchicago.com. It's a it's a contemporary urban gallery focused more on like aerosol, on graffiti art and street art, and yeah, it's been going very well, and yeah, come check it out. You have to come through the alley to come in. It's 1415 North Ashland. It's in Wicker Park in Chicago.
Awesome. Well, for everybody who's planning on going to Chicago, we'll add all of Anwar's listing to the show note. And if you're interested in art, then I think it would definitely be cool to stay at one of his places. So again, thank you so much, and thanks everybody for listening. And if you want to know more about Airbnb hosting, of course, you can go to getpaidforyourpad.com, and we'll also have all the show notes there at getpaidforyourpad.com/podcast. And of course, we have our book available on Amazon. It's on Kindle. It's also on print. So it's easy to buy there. You can get the audiobook for free as well. So lots of places, lots of information. And of course, every Monday and Thursday we have another episode going live. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll see you next time.
Get paid for your pad. Get paid for your pad. Get paid for your pad.